Hello everyone, welcome back again to my channel. First things first, I want to say a very big thank you to all of you that keep returning back to this channel to watch my videos. From what the YouTube analytics tells me, there are a lot of new people stopping by to check out my videos. Kind of makes me very happy, makes me very motivated to want to do more of these videos. So for those of you stopping by for the first time, Hardwareflipper here. I sell used PCs on the internet. I sell on eBay. I sell on my shop, and I sell wherever I feel like people are looking out to buy, used PCs. It could be, on a local marketplace. If I realize that, look, the traffic is there, I am definitely going to put my product there. But basically, I sell on eBay and I sell on my website. So if you are stopping by for the first time, this is the kind of content you like, please do me a favor, go ahead and be subscribed so that you get more of these kind of videos, and then click on the like button, share the video if you find it fit. I make a lot of content on this channel, depending on the way I'm feeling. Sometimes I come here, flex to you guys, just tell you about what I've sold on eBay, how I sold a particular PC, how I sold the laptop. I tell you about how I sold different stuff. This is a feeling, this is a mood, I'm happy, things are selling, and I want to come here and share it with you guys. And sometimes I'm also coming here to just rant, really pissed off when I get a very bad sting from a buyer. Somebody buys my products, want to return it. This is not a problem. But then if the item comes in such a, a disrespectful manner, the buyer sends back the item, not well packed, the items even get destroyed during transportation, I definitely come here to rant. And this is why sometimes you see my videos, I am kind of charged up, I'm charged up, I'm not happy, and I do not keep anything back. I come for it, I talk about it the way I feel. But then sometimes I also come here very, very chill. Right now it's just, 6:50 in the morning. I woke up this morning at about 5 o'clock. Typically, I do not tend to come to the warehouse at about 6 o'clock or 6:50 in the morning. But then today I said to myself, I kind of miss the old times where sometimes I have to come here at 4 o'clock. These were times where things were really, really difficult. I was trying to figure out a lot of stuff, and one of the hacks I kind of figured out at that phase of my life was, if you wake up very early in the morning, you have a way of just saving a little bit of time for yourself. Because come to think of it, there is so limited time in the day for you to do what you are about to do. What I mean is, if you have a lot of things going on in your life, you've got a job, you've got families, you've got kids, you've got a business, you've got a YouTube channel, you are trying to see how you can, connect with the most recent way of making money online. You have customers to deal with. Man, there is just so little time left in the day for you to actually do these things. And this is one of the biggest bottlenecks that you will pretty much realize when you start to go deeper in this rabbit hole. Rabbit hole I'm talking about here is making money online, trying to make money off the traditional method of making money. What we've all been told, or what you are used to prior to this time, is you get a 9-to-5 job, or you get a part-time job. You go to this job, you put in your best for 8 hours, 7 hours, depending on how many hours you are working. And then when it's closing time, you go home, you go and sleep, and at the end of the day, you get paid. Some people get paid every 2 weeks. Some get paid in Germany here. You get paid every 4 weeks at the end of the month, pretty much. All right. So this is what a lot of us are used to. But then when you now decide to, you want to, come to you've seen a lot of YouTube videos. People are talking about making money online. You feel like it's something you can do, and you get into this rabbit hole and you realize that, yes, in the beginning, it might be very interesting because at that time, you do not have a lot of things going on. The more you begin to go deeper, the more you begin to want to push transactions, you want to test different methods of making money, gradually you realize that you no longer have time to do the things that you used to be able to do easy when you had a 9-to-5 job. Things are going to be so uptight. You're not going to be able to, sometimes you want to figure out a little thing, you want to learn a little program, you want to learn a little tool, you need to just spend sometimes 4 hours sitting down doing it. And before you know what's happening, your whole time is gone. And when you finally get something going on, then it's like, welcome to a new chapter. People are buying your stuff. I'm talking about you finally developed a product. If you sell physical products, I pretty much don't sell a lot of digital products because, of course, I know there's a lot of money to be made there, but I'm a physical product person. I just believe that for me, the money is there to be made if you sell physical product. This, for example, is what I mean by physical product. I have products, listed on a platform like eBay, serious products. Some of these pieces they sell for like 500 euros, 600 euros. If somebody buys them, I am going to go ahead and ship them out. That would mean that I am going to be seen working. I have to make photographs of this product. I have to, test that they are working. I have to, list them. I have to troubleshoot them when customers reach back to me and say, look, the item doesn't work. It's just a lot, and the better part of 10 years, I have actually, committed to making this business work. And this business is not just me selling online. It also encompasses my, YouTube journey, my social media journey. At the time, I was on TikTok. I mean, I'm still there, but I just stopped posting less because I really don't see, the benefit for me in terms of dollar time amount, in terms of, money gains and the time spent. I look at all these platforms like a business, Instagram, I also tested it out. At the end of the day, I also didn't see, why I have to give so much hours, doing it for so little returns. But YouTube, I understand that it's kind of a long game. You have to put in a lot of upfront work. If the account ever gets to be monetized, then you can actually get back some of the money you have spent. And yes, this is one of the reasons why I also do YouTube on the side, but then I also see YouTube as an outlet for me to also release some kind of pressure, because truth be said, there's a lot of pressure that's going to be built up when you are on this journey. And you also have to have a place for you to actually, vent out some of these things. And there's also a place for you to also share some of your experiences with people, because give or take, I also learned a lot of things from, people. When I was trying to figure out a lot of stuff, I learned a lot on the internet, basically on YouTube. When I didn't know how to list on eBay, I had to go to YouTube to, figure out these things. When I didn't know how to, buy the items that people wanted, I needed to go there to check it out. When I didn't know how to, deploy the best strategy for my promoted listings, everything was pretty much gotten on YouTube. And now that I can safely say that, look, a lot of things are already on lockdown. These are things I have mastered. Like I said, for the better part of 10 years, I have just been repeating and rinsing this process. So it's also moral for me to also come here to a place that actually gave me a lot and give back. So having a YouTube channel is pretty much just, a social responsibility also for me. And I am gladly doing it. Yeah, that was a long tangent. That wasn't where I was actually going to, I came here today, and the mood I had was that of just, come here, talk to somebody today, because I feel like there's going to be somebody there that this video might get to, that this might just be a little bit of a motivation to you. And I felt I wasn't going to hold myself back, even though it's still very early. There is still a lot of work to be done today. I'm going to quickly, knock off this video. Perhaps you might be that person. It might change the way you see things just for the better. You see, long time ago, when I was trying to figure out this business, I kept, like I said, watching a lot of YouTube videos. I was coming across a lot of gurus, people that kind of place themselves in a position as teachers, to teach us these things. And one thing that constantly pissed me off was, each time I try to listen to a guru and the guru starts to say things like, your business is not working, the fault is yours, you are the reason why it's not working. At that point, I just zone off, because I feel like this guru doesn't know what he's talking about. How can you say, the fault is mine when I'm putting all the input and it's not working? The platform is responsible. At the time, I used to think that, look, if your business wasn't working, it wasn't basically you. As long as you're waking up in the morning to do the things you have to do, go out to buy inventories, you have already done your part. That's just enough. If the business is not working, in this case, it's no longer your problem. I didn't see it as my problem. So whenever a guru was trying to tell me that the business is not working, look inwards, I couldn't, wrap my head around that. And that was one of the reasons why I zoned off immediately a guru went that line, But then, fast forward, guys, I want to tell you guys for free, judging from my own experience, that if you ever get to hear, anybody, I don't consider myself as a guru. I am just a practitioner of what I preach. I sell on eBay, and I pretty much sell. If you go to the link in the description, you're going to see a link to my live shop. And on this shop, people are going to buy things today and I'm going to ship out items today. So I'm not sitting here like no, Mr. Know It All. I've done this thing. Now I'm coming to share my experience with you, but I no longer do the business. I still do the business. Whatever I'm telling you is something that is just currently happening to me right now. So like I said, I had a problem with the fact that the business is not working. The problem or the fault is mine. I couldn't believe that. I felt like the buyers were nowhere to be found. You know, the platform was just unnecessarily making things difficult. The listing fees, you know, promoted listing fees, everything, I felt like it wasn't just my fault, but the fault of the other side. I felt like there were no inventories because of that. There's pretty much nothing I can do. I'm not selling. My sales are down because I can't seem to find inventories. Man, guys, after many years of going round, I can tell you that in the end, these gurus were pretty much right. You know, I'm not talking about every other things they got wrong. I'm just saying, if your business is not working, there is every possibility that the fault is yours. You might be thinking now that you are putting in a lot of input. You are waking up in the morning to do the things you have to do. You know, you are doing your best, going out to list, to buy inventories, coming back to list items. You are cleaning them, but the business is not working. Look inwards, guys. I'm telling you, most times these platforms doesn't even know who you are. They are not interested in throttling your sales. They are not interested in making sure that you do not get sales. Come to think of it, if you make a sale, the platform makes money. So it makes no logical sense for the platform to say, look, this account, we are just going to make sure that the account don't work, you know. And business has been like this for years. There's going to be always competition. There's going to be always people coming to try to knock you off. This is what it is. If you are sitting there now thinking that there's going to be a time where there will not be any competition anymore in business, you better have to think again, because you are focusing, you know, on something that pretty much will not exist. You know, there's going to be this competition year in, year out. You know, it doesn't matter if it's in winter or in summer. There's just going to be that account that's going to come up and want to compete with you. Always going to be having, you know, a better price, going to be having that product that you don't seem to get. This is what it is, and that's not going to change. But then, if you see your business not working as your own fault, what it does to you, at least what it did to me, was for me to now begin to, you know, think of more ways, you know, to make the business work, focus on the things that I can really control, you know, develop new ways to be more innovative. This is because if you do not see the business as your own fault, then being innovative doesn't come into question. You know, you feel like you've done your best. This is all you can do. If the platform doesn't want to promote your item, then so be it. Because of that, you are not making sales. But if you see the business as basically your own fault, then it has a way of moving you to really look inwards, to really begin to question things, to begin to, you know, refocus on the way you see things, especially the way you source for inventories. You know, see the ways that you can actually be more creative as to bring products to the platform that nobody is currently doing. Of course, when you sit down for 10, 15 hours to develop a new strategy, you bring it to the marketplace, people are definitely going to copy it. It is what it is. You know, if you want to be fair to yourself, at some point in your reselling career, you also have copied an idea. You copied, you know, somebody's methods or somebody's processes. Yes, this is what it is. So if you go back now, sit down, 10, 15 hours, you know, develop a method, somebody is definitely going to copy it as well. So let that not be a bottleneck for you. Don't limit yourself by thinking, how do I have to go and figure out a very creative way like this, and I bring it to the platform and everybody wants to jump on it. Guys, I'm telling you, if you think like that, you are limiting your success, you are limiting your growth, and at the end of the day, you are going to be the complaining type. See, when you see your business not working as your own fault, it's going to push you to develop, you know, a creative way to present your items. And this is what pretty much worked for me. You know, when I started seeing, I was trying to sell computers and everybody was selling the same computers. Everybody was pretty much, you know, sourcing items from the same place. So you go to the thrift store, you pretty much don't find things anymore. I started thinking of creative ways to even get this product in the first place. And when I did get this product, I started thinking of more creative ways to present it on a platform that whenever anybody gets to land on my shop, even if it's just 4 or 5 people that comes, that eBay shows my shop to, they are going to definitely say, look, I think this is a very good, quality seller here. This is a good offer because I've already done my homework with the sourcing method. Yes, my items can actually come out, to be a little bit competitive. I'm not saying that I have the best price out there on eBay, but then the price in which I'm offering my items are not also so expensive that will, drive out a potential buyer. This actually came out from me sitting back to look really deep. Forget about the platform, forget about all what product the platforms were bringing out to make sure that they just take money from us. I laser focused on how I can actually, beat the competition, how I can present my items, how I can make my items so real that whenever somebody sees it, somebody's going to say, yes, this is a good product that's out here. And looking at the price, I think that this is something I want to deal on. I think this is not something that I'm going to buy. And from what the seller is putting out there, I think I can actually trust this seller and buy this product. See, somebody bought a laptop from me for about 559 euros. I'm going to be talking about that later today. But then, look, this is also a product of me putting a lot of work to make sure that, look, this laptop was well represented. Making the pictures of this laptop alone took me more than 2 hours. I'm not kidding you guys, because I realized that if you want to sell an expensive product to somebody, you also have to, put in a lot of upfront work in making sure that if anybody gets to see that product, the person will say, look, this is actually what I have been looking for. And it doesn't matter the price or the money that you are asking, the money you are asking, somebody will be willing to, pull out the credit card or log into PayPal and pay for that item. And in that way, you make a sale. See, if I wasn't thinking this way, that look, things are not working, this might be a fault of mine. What is that thing I have to do more? Go ahead and do it. And that thing could pretty much just be you taking a look at your pricing, structure. It's possible that your items are just about 10 or 15 euros too expensive. Okay, if that's the case, how do I make sure that this, price difference between me, my items, and the next seller is pretty much just 5 euros. And when somebody lands on both shops, sees my item, sees the other item of the competitor, says, okay, even though it's just a little bit more expensive, I think I'm going to buy from the Hardwareflipper shop because his offer kind of pushes me to want to believe that these items are of more, quality. Yes, don't get me wrong. Sometimes you're trying to, do more, be more creative, be more innovative, might just mean that you have to spend more time actually, developing these methods. And this is a problem. Most people don't want to spend time doing this. Most people are just okay with the fact that I've gone sourcing, I've pulled the items from the thrift stores. Now the items are here. I have tested them. I have cleaned them up. I think this is just enough work already. All right. This is also the way I was thinking many years ago. Yes, it's a lot of work. Unfortunately, this is what you are actually signing up for. This work is not like the traditional job that you go to. You have done 4 hours. You need to be paid, 4 hours worth. The moment you still think like that, then this is where you tell yourself, I think I have done too much. I think it's just enough. And the problem is, if you are saying to yourself, I think it's just enough, the person, the competitor that's on the other side, possibly have the other mindset, which is this job, I might work for 5 hours and get paid for 1 hour. I'm okay with that. All right. How do you beat that person? The person is saying to himself or herself, I do not care if I have to work 5 hours on this. Even if I have to be paid for 1 hour's worth, I am okay with that. This is the reality, and you are going to be fighting with people like this. This is the reason why you have to actually think to yourself or tell yourself, is this what I want to do? If it's not if you are not comfortable with, being paid an hour's wage, while working 4 or 5 hours, then you getting the traditional job might just be the best route for you. But if you have already settled that in your head, mentally you are cool with that, it's your mindset, it's already of the fact that, look, you have to do a lot of work and get paid less. You are not having any problem with that. Then you spending time to actually innovate things, discovering new ways to actually present your items in a way that will make people have more confidence as to buy from you might just be the missing link, in your quest for success. See, a lot of sellers in my category, they do not tend to use videos on their listings. I pretty much went the extra mile to make sure that, look, every item I have there on the eBay platform, there is a video attached to it. Of course, it's not 100%. There are still a lot of items that I still need to make the videos because, like I said, it's a time thing. And how much time do you have is the question. But then, as much as I can, I am making videos, for these items. So whenever somebody comes to my shop and wants to buy an item, first of all, understand that buyers, they have a lot of buyers. They do not know who you are. They do not trust your shop. They do not trust that they can even, give you 500 euros and you deliver a responsible product. But when they see that you are making videos, you are presenting the items on a video, they kind of overcome that bias. They kind of feel like, okay, this person looks legit. I feel like I can trust him. This is also something I am doing on the side. Thankfully, eBay has given us this function. There used to be a time it wasn't possible to put videos on your listings, but eBay has given us this function. Why not use it? But unfortunately, I see a lot of people, a lot of sellers, they have a lot of products, 30,000 items, 15,000 items. Not a single item has a video, and I'm just asking myself, do you really realize that these people coming to your shop, they have a lot of bias? They do not trust you. They do not want to buy from you. You making a video on your item is just one little way. I'm not saying this is all. It's just one little way for you to actually, show these people that you are ready. You have the items. You are ready to deliver it if they go ahead and buy from you. Using a very good listing template, something people don't do. I keep seeing a lot of sellers, different categories, just slapping descriptions onto some blank sheets that eBay has provided for us. Look, what people see has a long way of influencing them or even making them overcome the bias that they have. And if you are not spending time doing those things, you are doing something wrong. This is exactly what I was doing many years ago. I used to think that I was already doing a lot. It was just enough for me to be able to ship out my items. Sourcing the item was a little bit hectic, was stressful, was time consuming. I felt like this was all I needed to do. But later on down the road, I started realizing that, look, if things were not working, it's your fault. It took me a long time, like I said, to finally come to terms with this. And I have received the direct feedback, when I spend time developing a new strategy, figuring out something new, deploying a new banner, for example, to my shop. It used to be a time I just had a listing template with no banner. But right now, I have a banner, and on this banner, I can actually go ahead and, tell people of an offer I have somewhere else, offer them a discount and stuff like that. This took me some serious, solid amount of time to pull off. But when I started getting the feedback from this effort I put in, I started seeing things differently, started coming to terms with the fact that, yes, if things are not working, it might be my fault after all. And this is the mindset I have right now. And because of that, when things are not working, I'm always, constantly looking for a better way to make things work, a better way to present my item, a better way to even list item, and even a better way to source for the items that people want. You still going out to buy things that people don't want is also your fault. And this might just be one of the reasons why your business is not working. So if this video kind of touches you, speaks to your situation, I want to encourage you to go ahead and click on the like button. This is just coming from me. It's unscripted. I felt like this is something I need to speak to somebody out there because it helped me, but I will warn you, it takes some time to pull this off. Until I see you again in the next one. Peace.